All right.
Hi, Kelly. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. I'm so excited. I'm not going to lie, a little bit nervous, but so excited to get to talk to you today and to get to share with everybody in our group, about connecting to our why and our challenger story and our coach story, because it really has been something that has helped me to be able to grow as a continued challenger and as a continued coach. And I know we just talked a little bit about our stories, but I think it would be so awesome if we could share a little bit with everybody in this group about how we got started, in the first place. So I don't know if you could just share with me a little bit about how you got started as a challenger and why
Yeah.
you got started.
Yeah. It's a winding road in all honesty. So I'll try to, simplify it and straighten it out a little bit, but it is, the messiness of it is part of my story. Um, so Lori was someone that I didn't know, but I had gone to school with her husband, and that is how I kind of found her on social media. But I had been in a place where I was kind of struggling in my job. Was very, very stressful. I had two boys within 18 months of each other, and had lost my inner athlete. I felt like I had no control over my life because of my job and my husband's job and pulling me away from my kids. And so I had found an outlet in fitness through CrossFit, but I had also not been nourishing my body well and was really struggling to first lose weight after my second child. And then I developed celiac. So I had lost a ton of weight and was afraid to exercise and didn't know what I was supposed to be doing to get myself healthy. So I had found CrossFit as an outlet for fitness, but needed the nutritional support. So and at the same time my husband needed some help with finding something to reclaim his fitness again. So I had seen Lori post this transformation of her husband, who I knew growing up, and it was like that moment clicked for me, like, oh my gosh, I could do this for my husband, and at the same time I could get this shake that I've been dying to try, though I was a huge skeptic. So I had tried a lot of things, but figured with a 30-day money back guarantee, what did I have to lose? So I reached out to her and said, I want to do this challenge pack. I want my husband to do the fitness. I want the shakes for myself. And I had every intention of probably not liking it and sending it back in 30 days. But within a week of trying the shake, I picked up I hopped on Messenger and I said to Lori, okay, what do I need to do to get this at a discount? Because I was recognizing immediately energy boost. I felt just better overall. I could give so much more in every facet of my life. So I reached out to get a discount on my product. And that was how I started.
Right?
No intention of coaching, honestly.
I
How
think
about you?
Yeah, I think a lot of us are that way, and I find it amazing, when we open up and we lean in a little bit and we start to share our story. You and I didn't even know each other at all, and to hear how many things we have in common, and to think that, like, fear and anxiety almost stopped us from doing this alone. We just made another connection, which I'm, now forever grateful for. And that's one of the biggest things for me when it came to the challenge groups that was key, was that support. So for me, I've been doing this about 5.5 years now, and same thing. I had my last two kids were so close together in age; they were 14 months apart, and stuff at work was just crazy. I'm a social worker, and I really always found passion at my job, and I stopped feeling that passion, and it was trickling into how I was feeling about being a parent, how I was feeling about being a wife, how I was feeling about, I loved how you just said, I lost my inner athlete. I had gained, like, I don't even know the exact amount, but because I stopped going on the scale with my third kid. And I remember standing at an aquarium out east, and I was holding my baby in the baby warrior, because that's what moms do. And I was standing and I was just dripping in sweat, and I was like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? There's no way that I can figure this all out. And I had seen Lori, having three kids and figuring and making progress in her goals. So when I reached out to her and she shared the opportunity, same thing. I was like, I'll give it a try. It's 30 days. And I loved the community. It was the only time in the day that I saw people working on themselves and not being judgmental. And it started to give me that little bit of hope again. And then as following on with it, same type of stuff, I was like, ooh, how do I get this? I don't have any extra money. I have 3 kids. We're paying for daycare. We're doing all these other things. So I signed up as a discount coach like you. But a lot of my friends started to see the loss and of weight and the gain, most importantly, the gain in confidence that was coming back for me, and the ability to start to do some of those things outside of my comfort zone again, which I will tell you at that time, my comfort zone was probably like this big, if that. My comfort zone's probably about the size of our square now that we're in, but it's a constant work in progress, and I loved the community. And then my friends, my people, just like me, were surrounding me. And since that moment, I have found that we just keep empowering one another. At times I don't even feel like it's a job, because it's reigniting different passions for me consistently. I don't know if that makes sense.
Completely. I feel like we're echoing my sentiments exactly. I never imagined the community when I signed up to get a discount on a shake that I really was finding beneficial for me. I never imagined that this was beyond myself, or my family. And I'm a physical therapist, and I had moved out of clinical practice into the educational setting. And one of the things that I didn't realize was a void was my connecting one-on-one with people and helping them reach their goals and overcome, their obstacles from injury or illness or whatever. It was nothing I had anticipated missing when I went into education as a physical therapist, because I was just so burnt out and so stressed from being in the clinic. But it wasn't my patients that were burning me out. It was the administrative functions in the healthcare environment and everything. So not only have I been surprised at how much I love coaching, once I started sharing what I was doing, people were reaching out to me and asking me questions about that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm totally coaching. And this is what I can, this is easy for me from that perspective of going into what I've always done is, what are your challenges? What things are you trying to overcome? I have answers through this company that I just start. Oh my gosh, it was like light bulbs were going off. Like, wait, I have solutions for people. This is awesome. And then leaning into our coach community. I mean, you and I just met last week for the first time. I mean, we've seen each other in threads and stuff, but the community that we have and the connections, like you said, the support, the non-judgmental, like really the true and genuine backing that we all have for one another to see each other succeed in our own personal struggles, but then in our coach challenges and things like that. Like it's just, I never could have imagined it.
Right. I think it leads us, kind of into what we wanted to share a little bit more. And it's when we're going and we're inviting to our challengers and we're inviting, to the coach opportunity, it's really going towards and taking that step back and finding what you loved about what you're doing. I think oftentimes as coaches or as new coaches, when I started out, to be honest, it was like, well, I have to sell a challenge pack and I have to, get them to work out and I have to do this nutrition. And, I came from a very different perspective. And over time, we're a constant work in progress as coaches and as challengers. I'm still a challenger. I'm still growing in my own skin and my own self. And once you take that judgment away and just focus on your own self, it's a lot easier. But seeing those supports and what it is that's helping you, like you said, gives those answers. So I really suggest, just taking a step back, before you go and do a coach invite, or, even at any point in your day, and going, I start with gratitude and what I'm grateful for. And this community is one of those things. And to be able to offer my friends a community that can help them, that's non-judgmental, and that will lean in and support them, to me, is the best gift. I very rarely talk about BOD or, the nutrition program. I talk about the support and what we're looking for, what we need. And that's my niche. That's what I look for. And, we wanted to start by talking about looking at your target audience and who your target audience is, and really taking the time to understand that. And, Kelly, I feel like you and I have a very similar target audience because we're caregivers, we're moms, those are people that I'm looking for. We're athletes, we're bringing out our inner athlete that we thought disappeared, for a while. And when you start doing through the bat and you start doing those initiating connections through your target audience, you're creating that environment of people that can relate to the content that you're sharing. Right? Does that make sense?
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. And I struggled with those things. Like, what is my story? When I first started coaching, I'm like, oh my gosh, now I said I was going to do this thing. I don't have a story. I'm not interesting there. But you start looking at yourself and other people, like what struggles have I overcome? And I think sometimes we downplay our struggles, but if you look at them, it's like we've still had to overcome some hurdles and some obstacles and some challenges, and we become relatable to other people. And that's, you start really like, who are my people? It's the people that can relate to me, and you gain, I think, this community by just sharing who you are, and your niche are those people that relate to you, and what your obstacles have been.
Right. And I think a lot of times, for me anyway, I don't know if others felt this way, but when I thought about like originally posting about obstacles or struggles and stuff, it was like only weight loss, or like, here's my before and here's my after. But I have to be honest, the reality, when I go onto my stories and I share my daily struggles, I shared with you, this is the week that my mom passed away. That's a daily struggle for me right now. These are people that I'm going to relate to. And the more I share that story, I'm opening up the opportunity for those connections to have later on down the road, because they're going to say, how did you get through this week? It seemed like you were okay. Am I okay? I don't know what okay is when it comes to grief at this moment, but I can tell you I'm a constant work in progress, and I'm going to continue to strive for that. And there are so many people out there that are just sitting back and watching people go through these steps. And until we invite them to join us, they're just going to end up sitting back there. And I love helping other people. So I love having more people in my community, so that when I'm having a shitty day, that person's in there going, no, Christine, you're going to have an awesome day, or, giving me some other piece of inspiration. But sharing your daily obstacles, not just the big wins. It's not about just the big things. It's really those small things. I think the biggest thing is the small steps. It's small steps every day, in our life with this.
Absolutely. And I think that was a huge turning point in terms of me sharing my story, because I was like, I don't have this big thing to talk about. I didn't have this big weight loss, or, this big, huge hurdle. And I think you nailed it when you said looking every day at what your daily obstacles are, because we all have daily obstacles every single day. Okay, my kid's struggling with virtual learning environment, or my kid is struggling with whatever. I mean, we're moms, so our kids are having struggles, and we feel that pain in our heart, and we want to help them. So how do we help them? And that's a daily struggle. Maybe my struggle is, my gosh, I had, like, this past week, I posted every day, like, how hard my freaking workouts were this week. And I'm not used to that. And it bugged me, but I had to dive into that. And so that's a struggle. Someone else is feeling that same thing. And like you said, they're waiting to be reached out to. I was waiting for Lori to post that picture of her husband, who I knew, and I used it as an excuse, because I was wanting my husband to do this journey with me. I didn't want to go it alone. And I think building that community, you start to realize that you're never alone, and reaching out to those people is, just sharing your story is a way to reach out to those people that feel alone.
Yeah. And, it goes back to, again, I have found that I feel much more genuine when I'm sharing the truth about what's going on, throughout the day. And that also, again, brings me back to, and we weren't planning on going back to the activity tracker, but when I'm sharing these different, struggles, I'm creating that community, and I'm able to go to those response, and likes, and, initiate those connections, because it's real, genuine stuff. It's not, a sales pitch. So, we really encourage you guys to look at your day, step out of your comfort zone, and be vulnerable and lean in when it comes to the different things that are going on throughout your day, because as you do that, you're going to create that support system for you, and you're making your funnel, when you're talking the business aspect, even bigger each day. So I think that that's huge. And the next part that we wanted to talk about was, our battle, the trials, the tribulations of our struggles. Which I just had this on my coach call this morning, because we so often, I know I would always used to do this as well, like, it had to be perfect. Nothing has to be perfect. We are a constant work in progress. And I think, like you said, Kelly, being relatable, I'm not going to have people relate to me when if they're thinking that everything's perfect. I have to share with them that I'm a work in progress as well, to open up the door for them to understand that they're a work in progress too. If that makes sense. So how do you share some of that with your trials and your tribulations and your struggles?
Yeah. And I think as you're talking about that, I'm thinking, a lot of it, you and I both, we're healthcare providers. We're providers of helping others. And I think one of the things that when I started pouring into my own personal development every morning and taking time to be still and mindful, as you were talking about, I was able to explore my own trials and tribulations instead of thinking about how I'm going to fix everybody else's. And so in being a solution for myself by pouring into my personal development and just sharing that, it shares solutions for other people. So I feel like that personal development piece was such a huge discipline for me. But I feel amazing pouring into myself, because it enlightens me a little bit in terms of, hey, wow, I never thought. I've always been the mom, I've always been the wife, I've always been the physical therapist, I've always been the educator, like give, but I'm not giving to myself. And so,
I love, Kelly, this is crazy. Like, it's just crazy, because my motto, and always was, if I could help other people, I will be happy. That's just the way that I grew up, and it's not right. You have to fill your own cup up first. And when you do that, which I've learned over the past 5.5 years, you don't neglect anybody else. You actually start overflowing, and you fill up their cups genuinely with your overflow. And to me, that's one of the best gifts that you can give. And that was the number one thing as a coach. And, one of the last slides that we're going to share with you later on is, what have we learned and what is the solution? For me, I've learned I need to fill my cup up first. Do I get up earlier in the morning now? Yeah. Did I hate it at first? 150%. This year, my alarm is set at the earliest it's ever been, but it's because I want to make sure I'm filling my cup up totally and getting my gratitude in and everything else. And the number one job as a coach is take care of yourself. So that's why I started it. And that's my solution, because I'm reaching out to, like you said, parents, healthcare providers, social workers, counselors, whatever they are. And I want to continue to show people that if you fill your own cup up, you can fill up so many other people's cups. What an amazing gift to give. But when I go at it and go, well, I want you to sell Beachbody Challenge packs, I don't feel good about it. Right. But when I go this way and I find my niche, it has helped me that funnel has opened up tremendously because of it. So we really want to suggest to you guys to go to your niche, go to your why, stick with it, have it posted all over the place. I shared again this morning, my first challenge group, we had to put on a Post-it note. Kelly, I don't know if you had to do this too. Your why. And my why was because I'm worth it. And I still have that Post-it note stamped on my computer. I've changed buildings. I've been moved and all of these things. And every single time I pack up, it's right there, and it's my daily reminder as to why I'm doing this. So we really want to encourage you guys to do that as well. Keep your coach why close to you. Keep your challenger why close to you. Remember, you're constantly a challenger. You're constantly a work in progress, and we're just going to keep leaning into one another and learning from this. So we really hope that this information helped guide you guys a little bit in how to start to share your story and the coach opportunity, and recognize, as we do, if we weren't reached out and invited to, we wouldn't be where we are today. So I'm forever thankful that I had the opportunity, and I use that when I go to invite to others as well.
Absolutely. I don't even know if I can top that. So I think that
You're going to share later on today, or underneath this, you're going to share all the slides, because you did an amazing job with these slides. And I think they're going to be a constant guideline for me to check in with, to say, like, how am I sharing my story? Because the more comfortable we get with how to share the story, the easier it becomes. And you've laid out a perfect guideline for it. So I truly appreciate that as well. And we'd love to see you guys underneath this share your why and share your story with us, whether it's via a Canva thing like Kelly's showing you, and you recreate it, or I oftentimes jump on and have diarrhea of the mouth like we do today. Share it with us, because we can all learn from one another as well. And we hope that you guys have an awesome day.
thank you.